If you're the type of person that thinks small cameras like this should stay small and it's stupid to rig them up, then this will not be a good rig for you, even though it's not a huge rig. I would say it's kind of medium sized. I think there's actually some use into adding a rig to smaller cameras like this to give them some of the functionality that they lose by being small, such as a headphone jack, good audio, a good monitor, a good microphone, a lot of things. So the goals for this rig were to add a top handle, which I really like to have for filming. It's so easy to use for low angle shots and just picking up the camera. I needed a monitor that I could use outside and that was just all around more usable than the monitor that's on the camera already, which is just terrible. I also wanted XLR inputs. On-camera mic is a plus just for shooting events and whatever, if you need scratch audio. A headphone jack, needed a headphone jack for monitoring audio for interviews and stuff. Mostly just usability. I just want it to be really usable. I don't want things to get in my way. I hate magic arms and stuff like that because they're heavy and they're cumbersome and they're slow. I like things that work really fast, like this monitor setup. If you need to switch to a low angle, you just rotate it down, or if you switch to a high angle, rotate it the other way. You can do it with one hand, it takes 2 seconds. And it's super stable too. And you can also rotate it this way out, which is cool. So to start off, I originally got the Sony XLR K2M audio adapter, which is this guy on top of here, this thing, which gives you awesome XLR inputs and auto and manual controls over here. It's awesome, except that it goes in this really awkward spot, at least in my opinion, this really terrible spot right on top of the hot shoe, which makes it impossible to connect anything onto your camera. And even with a cage like this, you're super limited on what you can attach to the camera. If I could do it over again, I would just buy the XLR K1M instead of the K2M. It's the exact same thing as this basically, except it doesn't mount on top of the hot shoe. You can mount it anywhere on the side and it has a little cord going over to the hot shoe. So some people think this is better. I like the idea of the other one more because you can mount it off to the side and it's not just this big thing on the top of your camera right there that blocks all your potential mounting options. So I really wanted a top handle on here, but I could not figure out how to get one on. So I had to come up with something like this, which definitely adds bulk and weight, but it also gives you the opportunity to add more handles and a monitor and other useful things. So this is the small rig Versa cage, I think, with this small rig whatever handle with a rod mount that goes through it, a NATO, quick release NATO rail on top screwed into it. These are, I think, 4-inch rods, and then these are just Giottos MH621, I think, quick release plates that I have on the top and bottom. There's a long one on the bottom. So you can just mount this in here super easily and tighten it up, and then you have a rig. This is the iCan VL35 EVF, I think it's called. They have also just the regular VL35. This is the EVF one, which I think the only difference is it has a little tiny magnetic strip going around the edge so that you can attach this awesome iCup thing, loop. This monitor also has a headphone jack right here, so you can see that. I don't have a battery mounted up right now, but I have the Sony NPF plate on here. It comes with the Canon LPE6 plate. I like the Sonys because I have those batteries already, and you can get large capacity ones. I use the 770, I think, or 750, whatever it is, that runs for a couple hours or a few hours. This is an older small rig cage on the actual camera itself. So there's the larger cage that goes around the whole thing, and then there's the camera specific cage that wraps around, hugs the camera. And the only reason I have that cage on there is because I like to mount this HDMI cable lock on the side here so that I can't pull the HDMI cable out accidentally and break the port, the downside of a magnetic EVF. The outer cage actually kind of slides underneath the audio adapter right there. And then this handle mounted to the NATO rail, this specific handle, is the perfect height to come just up and over the audio adapter there, and you can still grip onto it with enough room. I mean, my knuckles hit a little bit, but it's not a big deal. This top handle is awesome because it gives you a rod mount that goes through it. Here, it just goes through and you can tighten on the rod. And then I have just another cold shoe to rod adapter that's connecting these two. And that I have just loosened to the point where I can turn it easily so that you can do all your monitor adjustments one-handed, and you can turn it out to the side and it's totally stable. It's not loose or wiggly. There's no magic arms flopping around. One other thing that I think is really important with this rig is you can still access the battery and SD card slot really easily. So I'll put links to all the parts I use in the description. Hopefully that helps the 3 people out there that want a rig like this and the millions of others that think it's dumb.